It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Well, good day, everybody. Welcome to the program. I'm Brad Miller, and it is County-Wide. And we're very happy to welcome into studio today Johanna Rutshow. And Johanna is a victim advocate with Cottonwood Police Dept. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Well, terrific. Well, we're very pleased. I want to shed a light a little bit on exactly what it is you do, kind of working very much hand in hand with, in this case, Cottonwood Police Dept. But also today you brought a four-legged counterpart who works with you in your department as a victim advocate, and her name is Tilly. And there is a fundraiser that is going on. I want to mention that now, and then we'll bring it back at the end of our time together, because Tilly's portion of this is completely funded through donations. Tell me a little bit about Tilly, who she is and what she does, and
Sure.
why funding her is important to you.
Sure. Yeah. Tilly is my coworker. She is an 8-year-old yellow lab.
She's gorgeous.
She is. She's a lot of fun to have.
She's so friendly.
She's been with us since December of 2019. She's been with Cottonwood Police. But Tilly was actually born and bred to be a facility dog.
Okay. She was trained.
Yes.
Okay.
A facility dog is much like a service dog. A service dog is assigned to one person. A facility dog works at a facility. So for Tilly, it's
Gotcha.
Cottonwood Police Department.
Gotcha. Okay.
So she was raised as a puppy. She was with the puppy raiser for 18 months. After 18 months, she went to what's essentially a boarding school for dogs for, I think she was there just about a year. And then at 1 year, she got assigned to her handler. And her handler is Kathy. Kathy is one of my volunteers. That's who Tilly goes home with at night.
Okay. Okay.
And Tilly originally worked for a court in Grand Junction, Colorado.
Okay.
She worked there for 3 years with her handler, Kathy, who was a victim services supervisor there at that court. And when they retired to Cottonwood, Tilly came to work for us at Cottonwood Police, and she's been an amazing, phenomenal asset.
Let's talk a little bit about your job specifically,
Sure.
and then I think it'll become apparent to our listeners how Tilly's abilities get kind of folded into it. Generally speaking, any victim advocate working with the police department, but you in particular, that is your post with Cottonwood PD, means what? Victim advocacy is?
Victim advocacy is working with, in my case, victims of crime within the Cottonwood Police Department. So I'm there to provide support, direct them to services, give them information on their case if they need case updates. I can act as a liaison between the victim and the officer or detective. So basically, whatever a victim needs during that person's time, that's my job.
Okay.
My job is to serve the victim.
Simply to kind of help. The word buffer comes to mind.
Buffer or navigate. I help them navigate what's
Sure.
a very complicated system.
Right.
It is hard to kind of keep up with your case. There's always a lot of moving parts. Then when it gets to the prosecution phase, it's a whole nother set of lingo and processes.
So
it's confusing.
So it's way beyond just the day. See, that was part of my confusion. I was kind of picturing it. It seems typically what'll start. Let's just use a domestic violence
Sure.
situation, a husband and a wife, and there's some physical altercation. The woman is injured. The husband takes off. PD is going to want to find that guy.
Absolutely.
But someone needs to, I mean, an officer I'm sure will stay, but
Yes.
you would be a part of that once the scene is secure.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And then I can come out and be with the victim, because at that point in time, that individual, let's just, in your example, that wife is naturally going to be completely beside herself,
Right.
upset, scared, hurt, angry, all the emotions.
Right.
So in that moment, I will just be there as a sounding board for her. If officers have questions throughout their investigation, I can help get those questions to that individual.
Okay.
And then making the assumption that we do make an arrest, I can get that person to a safe place if she needs a safe place to stay at night.
Sure.
And I work really closely with the Verde Valley Sanctuary. They're an amazing organization.
Right.
We partner.
We've chatted with them many times.
Excellent.
You bet.
So then after that, then the next step is the prosecution phase.
Right.
And then I walk them through all that. What happens when a person goes to jail? When do they come out? When do they see a judge? What does the prosecutor need? What is their involvement at court? Do they need to be there or not? There are so many questions and variables. So I help someone navigate that system as well.
And for so many people, that's going to be hopefully a once in a lifetime thing.
Yes.
Certainly the first time. That's just the entire process is going to have a traumatic effect on almost anybody that has to go through it.
Right. So you're navigating a whole new system with new words, and you're also trying to deal with whatever chaos you have at home.
Right.
Maybe there are kids there. And maybe now the breadwinner is not in the picture.
Right.
What do you do? And who do you go to?
Yeah.
So it's a difficult situation.
For a lot of us, we hear about it on the news, and then it's the next day it's done and so on. But it goes on for a lifetime for some of those.
It certainly does.
Impacted. Let me kind of back up again. I want to go back to, we've used this domestic violence case as just a scenario. I'm thinking that probably is a case that you have seen. Mm-hmm. Are there any certain situations or types of calls or incidents that are much more common than others, or everyone's going to be different, I suppose?
Yes, everyone is different. And I try to respond to any victim of crime in Cottonwood. So let's say someone drove into your mailbox.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing in the world.
Right.
Except to you.
Right.
It's a huge inconvenience. You got your property damaged. It's hard. And so, I'll try to reach out. Maybe it's just a letter saying, hey, I'm here. If you want to copy the police report, let me know. I'll get that to you. If you have any questions, let me know. We'll figure that out. So actually, any crime in Cottonwood, I can serve those crime victims. The ones that require the most time and attention are those more complex ones, domestic violence, any sort of sexual assault or child crimes.
Right.
We get more heavily involved in something like that. But actually, anyone that's been victimized knows it's not a fun place to be in life.
Yeah, yeah. When we talked, and I did chat with you a tiny bit before we opened the microphones, but a frequent guest here has been Sue Rutherford, working with the volunteers, doing similar work to kind of what you're describing. It sounds like yours is more immediate and kind of is going to be a part of someone's life perhaps for much, much, much longer than those wonderful folks do. But kind of similar. Would you be I guess maybe help with a victim making phone calls to family so that they might come and also be of assistance, that kind of thing? Or?
Yes, absolutely. And I do cross paths with the ACT people, and they're a fantastic group.
Yeah.
So we do intersect, especially if the fire department's involved.
Right.
Fire is more likely to call out those individuals. Not the police department calls me because I'm on staff with them.
Right.
But yeah, we help with whatever they need, calling family, finding their family and friends. If there's been a death, figuring out who's your first phone call.
Right.
What do you do?
Right. Yeah.
So
many of us are simply not prepared for that kind of thing. Or even in the moment, depending on circumstance or maybe even regardless of circumstance, that is going to be traumatic. And many times you're going to really want someone literally there to kind of hold your hand and guide you through these things.
Absolutely.
Talk to me a tiny bit. You mentioned this about where you kind of become I can't think of the right word. I said buffer and go-between isn't right. But working with police officers with a very frightened and perhaps physically even injured victim, say, in a tough case. It seems like that would be an extremely important piece of what you do for the officers and the investigators as well as the victim.
Right. And our officers and detectives, they're phenomenal, and I thoroughly love working with them. But, they have a job to do, and that's to catch the bad guy.
Right.
And that's why it's good that I can come in and be there with the victim and kind of take over some of that part. Stay with them at the hospital. Yeah. Stay in the ER with them. Help them find out who they can call, to stay with that night. Maybe they don't want to go home. Yeah. So the officers and I work really closely together. We can collaborate a little bit on how best to serve the victim. And if the victim has some input they want to give the officer, I can get them connected.
Right.
And often people that have been victimized have a ton of questions. And you don't think of them at the time, but you want to call back in a couple of days, which is perfectly all right. I have the time to take those phone calls, especially if you get an officer that works a graveyard shift. You're not up when they're up, typically.
Right.
So they can call me during the day, and I can get back with them, and we can have a good conversation about what happened, and I can hopefully answer their questions or find an answer for them.
Right. Have you ever been part of, you're not an investigator or police officer. Have you ever been a part, though, through your work where you have helped with something, come up with a positive outcome in terms of the criminal prosecution or those kinds of things? Some information that maybe the victim didn't think was pertinent, that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. One kind of unique part of my job is that when victims speak with me, we keep our conversation confidential. So a good example, I think, is sexual assault. There's a lot of misconceptions about that. If you're an adult, you don't have to report that crime to a law enforcement officer. You don't have to say anything to anybody. You can tell me, and I can help you get the resources that you need. We can have a conversation, and maybe when we're done talking, you'll think, okay, yeah, I can report this now. I'm ready.
I can completely understand that.
Yeah. So I make sure victims know that what they share with me, I don't share with the officer or detective. And the officers and detectives, they don't need my help in investigations.
Sure.
They know what they're doing. I just try to be there as a sounding board for that victim. And most sexual assault victims, after we've had a discussion, and this is not just me, this is most victim advocates, that person does want to report. Because once you get the system, once you understand what the steps are, the hoops you have to jump through, and you know that someone's going to walk it with you, then yeah, you're more likely to report.
Makes all the difference.
Yeah, it sure does.
I can completely understand. It's fascinating. We need to take a short break. When we come back, we're talking with Johanna Rutshow, victim advocate, Cottonwood Police. There is a fundraiser going on for her partner, Tilly, an 8-year-old gorgeous little yellow lab with a big smile on her face. I'm looking at her right now. And we'll talk more about that and how you and Tilly kind of work in tandem. It's countywide. We'll be back right after this.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Service for over 25 years and continues to serve the communities in northern Arizona. Jackson Hewitt is here to help you file your personal taxes. As laws and situations change, your local Jackson Hewitt Tax Service professional stays updated to serve you. Drop off or make an in-person appointment in Flagstaff. Call 213-8626. That's 213-8626. That's 213-8626.
The award-winning experts at Verde Solar Services offer the trusted Carrier products that help you customize a solution to fit your budget. Verde Solar is a family-owned business serving the Verde Valley for 38 years with the Carrier products you can rely on. Carrier AC systems are trusted to bring energy-efficient, quiet, consistent comfort. Call 928-567-5315 for a free assessment of your AC and air quality needs. Verde Solar Services, online at verdesolar.com, a factory-authorized Carrier dealer.
Don't let concerns about today's events derail your long-term financial strategy. Hi, I'm Edward Jones Financial Advisor, Matthias Sandoval, and I'm here to help. We can work together to understand the impact of these events and make sure your goals are top of mind. While you can't control the market volatility, we'll focus on what you can control. We can connect in several virtual ways. Start by giving me a call at 634-1044.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
And again, welcome back to the program, Countywide. I'm Brad Miller. Johanna Rutshow is victim advocate with Cottonwood Police, and her partner is Tilly, 8-year-old yellow lab, and Tilly is funded completely by donations. You work through grant funding and those kinds of things for your post, but Tilly is funded by donations from folks like our listeners.
Yes, she is 100%.
And there's a fundraiser happening through the end of this month, and how can I find out a bit more about that? And I want to contribute.
Great. We have our fundraiser right now on the police department's Facebook page.
Okay.
So if you're on social media, Cottonwood Police Department, Facebook, it should be pinned to the top of that page. That's where we are taking donations, and we have pictures and videos up of Tilly, and we'll keep posting pictures and videos as they become available. But if you're not a social media person, we are running all the funds through Law Enforcement Heroes, and you can drop off a check at the Cottonwood Police Department made out to Law Enforcement Heroes. That's a 501c3 organization.
Okay.
So donations via Facebook, that's online or in person.
Okay, we'll mention that again before we completely wrap up the show. I don't want anybody to miss out who wants to be a part of this. What a sweetheart. You brought her in today, and our staff, you want to bring our staff together in 2 seconds. I think she met everybody while she was just in the few minutes it took to kind of get situated here in the studio. But what a good-natured sweetheart of a dog she is, and it's very apparent to me right off the bat how she could be helpful. And the first thing that came to my mind was children.
Yes.
When you work with kids especially.
Yes, she's so great to have with our kids. We'll have a kiddo come in and we'll need them to talk to a detective or an officer. And in the past, we do have a really lovely, soft interview room that we can have kids at. Comfy chair, little table, custom-made benches. Do you hear Tilly
snoring?
She does. She's awake, really. But she does make the snoring noise when she's in the zone here.
My eyes just, Johanna saw my eyes kind of say, wait a minute, am I picking up?
Yes.
I don't know if, oh my gosh, that's funny. I don't know if our listeners at home will get that. Hey, it's a dog day kind of day. All right. I'm sorry I interrupted. That is so sweet, so lovable.
Yeah.
All right. Well, when Tilly's not napping.
Yes. I think I was saying that when we have kids in, I can try to get them comfortable. We color, we play, which of course I love doing. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I try to get them all warmed up and ready to talk to a detective.
Right.
And that can take a while, and I'm willing to devote the time into that. But now that we have Tilly walks in the room, and that child is calm, and they have a little distraction. Tilly is trained to sit next to someone or at their feet. She can sit for hours and not make a sound. She can sit under a table like in a witness box in a court, and she has a command. She will stay there for hours. She won't move or make a sound. Especially, let's say for like a witness box, kids work with Tilly. They take off their shoes. They can rest their feet on her, and just as a little comfort. Yeah. And Tilly will just stay there and just be with them in that moment. So when we do our interviews at the station with a child and Tilly, or even an adult and Tilly will sit next to them. She'll lay down. You can hear her snoring. There's something a little calming and relaxing about that even cadence of the breathing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All of it's just very restful. She's kind of like a great big yellow comfort pillow.
She is.
With a tail that wags.
That's right.
And a sniffer.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, well, she's just adorable, and clearly her nature, and I don't know how much of that is training. I think labs are known for their kind of sweet natures, but she certainly seems to be the right dog for the right job in the right place.
She's so calm, and sometimes beyond her calming, she brings a little levity to a situation.
Yeah, yeah.
A little distraction.
Yeah.
And so that's just great to have. Sometimes you just need a little break, and you can pet Tilly. Her favorite activity is playing ball. She's not one for walks, but if you can toss a ball, she will do that for hours.
Yeah.
So it's just been so much fun.
It seems if you get particularly, and we talked about kids because that just popped into my head as being obvious, but she's not just for youngsters. Certainly adults might kind of warm up. Has she? I bet you'll say has had the effect at times where maybe a victim wanted to talk, couldn't. Out of fear, out of trauma, and she has paved the way for that kind of thing to happen.
Yes, absolutely. It's just remarkable to watch, and I just wish I would never be able to film something like that. But it's an amazing experience to be part of. There's just something about her. She relaxes people, and actually, it's science. It does release some chemicals in your brain that do help you relax. So she works great with our victims, and when we don't have victims in the station, or she's not at court or in an interview, she's great to have with our officers.
Yeah.
She spends time with them. She roams the hallways. She will go over to dispatch and sit at their feet. So she's just been a tremendous asset to the department.
Yeah. Did you, was it your idea to bring her in and make her, because she's newer in this position than you are?
Yes, she is.
How did that?
Well, it was always actually one of my dreams to have a dog working with us at Cottonwood Police. And then Kathy moved to town, and Kathy's her handler, and approached me and said, hey, this is who I am. This is who I have. Would you be interested? And I just felt like the luckiest person on earth because absolutely. Yeah. She's just great. She's been fantastic.
Yeah, and the training is interesting. I didn't know. We think about police dogs.
Yes.
We think about cadaver dogs, and certainly different kinds of trainings. You called her, I'm sorry, a facility.
A facility dog.
Yeah,
because she works in a facility.
Okay,
yes.
But like we've I think seen pet therapy in hospitals.
Yes.
Say for young and old, she would probably have come from that kind of
she comes
deeper
from that,
training.
Yes, environment.
Okay.
The company that trained her is called Canine Companions for Independence.
Okay.
So they did all of her training for her first few years, and when she came out of school, she actually had 40 commands. So, we have commands that are for her at PD, where she will sit at someone's feet, she'll go under a table, and she'll stay for hours. Other commands that she has and still uses are the carry command. She can pick something up for you and carry it. She can open doors with a push pad, like the handicap accessible doors. If you put a little rope around your door handle, like the one you have here in your office, she can pull and open doors. She has so many. Some of those we just don't use anymore because she doesn't need them.
Right.
Those are her main commands.
She's a smart girl.
She is smart.
She's moved a little bit. She's not snoring.
Yeah, that's right.
Snoring anymore. Well, again, there is a fundraiser happening, and I want to come back in our final kind of wrap-up moments, and we'll mention that again. Tilly, you can hear in Johanna's voice and what she is telling us, the importance of Tilly to the Cottonwood Police Department and thereby the Cottonwood community at large is dramatic and significant. She's already earned her dish of kibble. So let's keep this program going. The donations through the end of this month through Facebook. We'll talk a bit more about that when we come back to Countywide right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley for 38 years, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust, designed, engineered, and built in the USA. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates on systems that are quiet and affordable. Verde Solaire is locally owned since 1983 and available for all your heating, air conditioning, and plumbing needs. Call 928-567-5315. Visit them online at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Taxes, taxes, taxes.
It's that time again. This is Lewis with Rice Accounting Jackson Hewitt Tax Service. We don't sell cars, we don't do hair or wait tables. We do taxes. At Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, we talk taxes and we prepare taxes. Open year-round for tax filings. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, located throughout northern Arizona. For over 20 years, our local preparers have helped neighbors pay their fair share and no more.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service in the Tri-Cities at 772-7872. That's 772-7872.
Welcome back to the program. It's been a terrific one. Johanna Rutshow is our guest and victim advocate for the Cottonwood Police Department, talking about what she does. And we thank you for your service, as we thank our men and women in blue. And we thank our little partner in yellow down here, Yellow Lab Tilly. And she is a huge part, as you've heard in the first pieces of our program today, of what Johanna is able to do and offer to victims, big crimes or little. It sounds like she is has an availability to help out. You mentioned courts, and that can be as terrifying as almost anything else if you have to testify against someone, say in a criminal case, and victims can find Tilly helping them even in the court.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. I do have a satellite office at the Cottonwood Municipal Court where we prosecute the misdemeanor crimes in Cottonwood. People also get orders of protection, like some people know them as a restraining order there.
Yeah.
So we are there, and Tilly is there for having, just her presence there for victims. And actually, even if we have no victims in the court, she will lay and she will kind of, like we said earlier, snore. Yeah. And it's just a nice little relaxing moment for the people that are there at court. And she's also worked some felony cases for the Yavapai County Attorney's Office. They have called her to assist on some child cases that they are working on over there. So she's very well-rounded.
It seems like having a canine element in victim advocacy would be a welcome branch of any service that works doing things like you do. All right. Well, once again, as we wrap up, there is Tilly is funded completely by donations from folks like you and I. So let's see what we can do on Facebook. It sounds like it's a real good place to go. Tell me, Johanna, again, if I want to make that contribution through social media.
Yes. Go to the Cottonwood Police Department Facebook page, and you will see Tilly's fundraiser. You'll see a bunch of pictures, videos, and we'll be adding more pictures as the month goes on here in September. Okay. And also want to mention September is Facility Dog Month.
Perfect.
So it fits perfectly. Yeah.
Let's support our facility dog. All right, Johanna Rutshow, victim advocates at Cottonwood Police Department, and Tilly, we thank you so much for coming by. It is countywide, and we'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.